Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. A little bit of would you rather today. This guy or that guy? I know you guys play that with me and Trev a lot. Let's talk some ball. Teoscar.
Tommy John.
Oh, no. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek as always. Make sure you guys go to SeatGeek. Make sure you guys use SeatGeek code TALKIN10. Take out your phone, open the SeatGeek app, TALKIN10. Whether you've used SeatGeek before or you haven't used SeatGeek before, code TALKIN10. Save you 10% off, whether you're going to a sporty thing, maybe a musical thing, or whatever else you're into. Trev, what are you into?
Wow, right now, if I was to go on SeatGeek and use code TALKIN10, I think I need like a comedy show, man. I haven't been to one in a long time, and they're never really on my radar, but whenever I do go, I enjoy it.
That's a good comedy show is a good time. When I was living in Denver, we timed one up. We got Pete Davidson tickets, and it was the week after he got dumped by Ariana Grande. So it was okay. The timing was pretty
like sad boy comedy. Love that.
Yeah, it was a little bit of sad boy. And he dunked on himself pretty good. So I don't know. Go see either of them at SeatGeek. Trev, speaking of Ariana or Pete, we're gonna play.
Where are you at?
We're gonna play. Sound off in the comments. We're gonna play a little off-season. Kind of who would you rather? This is one of my favorite games to play at the end of the offseason because we did this. I remember the Cardinals last year. They signed all of their veteran starting pitchers, and it was like, well, hey, I know you guys needed innings, but could Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson been the same price tag as Snell? And then you kind of play that game. Like, well, you're looking at 300 innings compared to 120 innings or wherever Snell landed last year. That I wanted to get ahead of it as teams are dreaming up their offseason plans and doing a little would you rather. And I think for some of these guys, you don't even need to think about the team. It could be your team. It could be your rival's team. It could be any team that it's like, oh, it's an interesting thought exercise. In some of these, we have picked out teams that it's like, ooh, they for not only next year, but maybe their next 3, 4, 5 years, it changes kind of the whole franchise outlook. So you want to get us started, big guy, or you want me to get it started?
You lead us off. We're going to go back and forth, a little bounce pass, like we're on the court talking ball. Start us off. I think there's some good ones.
You know what? I think I'm going to do this one. Because this is straight up, and then it does have a good team in mind. I think this is perfect for the exercise because I think you could even throw out the money because we did have Dalton come up with some money values.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
Fangraphs came out with their crowdsourced projections today, which is a good tool. And what I do respect about them, they have the previous year free agent classes up with their crowdsource and what they got. So you can do a little side by side and be like, all right, they were low there, they were high there. Anyways, I guess I just haven't thought of these two in the same boat at all. Pete Alonso and Alex Bregman are both free agents. Obviously, Bregman said he could play second base. He's also a Gold Glove third baseman. Pete the Meat, ready to give you 35 to 40 homers a year wherever he lands. And Trev, on this exercise, originally Dalton put out Alonso getting an extra year. I'll put it the same. Let's say these two guys are 6 years, 25, 26 million a year, whatever it is. Blank canvas. Which one of these guys would you rather have?
This one's kind of easy for me, and I respect what Pete does and what he brings to the table because I've said this many times on the show before, Jake. You just don't find guys that hit 40 homers growing on trees. He has game-changing power. I will say this for both these guys. They both just feel like ball players. That's kind of like what they care about. Like they're going to be at the yard putting the work in. They're not sidelined by their brands or anything like that off the field. I feel like doesn't necessarily matter to them. Breggy has his kids or maybe just one kid. But these guys, for all intents and purposes, are just baseball guys, so I like that. But if you give me a chance to have a ball player that can do it on both sides, at most likely a premium position, third base, second base, showing the ability to play Gold Glove defense there. The offense is not too far apart, in my opinion. Yeah, the slug is going to go to Pete, but Breggy's, obviously a very offensive minded player as well. If you give me the option to have someone that can play defense and hit, and I can plug somebody else in at first base who I think will not match what Pete can give you, but will be sufficient enough. I'm going Bregman all day here. If it, team dependent would change that. If you're telling me a blank canvas who I can start with, we've talked about this before. Again, we mentioned this last episode about how Bregman's going to be a guy that plays for 12 more years. So he's just going to be there. I like Bregman in this scenario.
The defense is interesting because I haven't wrapped it around my head yet, because it was funny. Alonso during the postseason, they kept running the stat he was the best scooper at first base. And
I've been trying to tell you guys
I know. I just didn't listen to you. But okay, like in my head, Alonso was going to have to make the move pretty quickly. But hey, if he's got the scoops and he gives effort at first base, and like I can work with that. That Alonso to DH, that doesn't have to be in your 2-3 year plan necessarily as a team. I do think it's interesting looking at the career offensive numbers. I was like, wait, Bregman, he kind of does go toe to toe with Pete. A lot of that, or some of that, is pre-2020. A couple of those, Bregman's biggest.
What happened there?
Nothing. There's juice balls. You heard about that. And hey, to be fair, Pete's biggest offensive season is also 2019, where those balls had a little extra in them. Coming since 2020, Alonso has an 833 OPS. Bregman has a 795. So both of these guys are, Bregman turned 30, Alonso's turning 30. I guess for me, going blank canvas, I would lean Pete. I just think if I'm building the team, I'm not going to tell you I can find other Alex Bregmans, because that's not how it works, but the power thing, as a team, I've almost already checked the button. Like, if I get Alonso, if I have one more slugger or a couple more power threats, like, as a whole, I'm good. Like, our team is going to slug enough to keep up, that I think I can find the defense or the quality at bats Bregman takes. I feel like I could find that at other places that I think money equal, I would lean Pete. It's close. It's the reason we're doing this.
The one thing that scares me a little bit on Bregman, again, I think I'll stick with my answer here, but I love chase percent, whiff percent, K percent. Like, he's always blood red in those things on Baseball Savant, upper echelon, 95, 96 percentile.
Blood red.
Yeah.
That's good. Red. That's good.
Is blood blue until it hits the oxygen? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Did you get that simulation?
Literally nobody knows. Trev, I can't talk about the simulation thing you sent me yesterday.
Bregman's, yeah, we got to send it to Beavers too. Bregman's walk percentage went way down this year, all the way down to 6.9%. Nice. To give some context, it was at 12.7 last year. You want to go to 2022. It was even better at 13.3. So there is a little bit of a decline there. And do I think that's going to continue? No, because I've told you that I think his swing is so repeatable and so good that he can clean it up. I think this one is close, but again, I think my reasoning is you get a guy that can play some defense. And I really actually think their offenses are going to... Well, I think Bregman has a better chance to be a solid offensive contributor for like longer than Pete does. And I don't really know if I have great facts to back that up. That's just straight a ball player feel.
Right, Pete's tricky because it feels like with these big old sluggers, like when it slows down hard. Where Bregman, it feels like he's going to adjust, like it kind of like we've been talking about. He's going to take a tough at bat until he's 42 somewhere. His power numbers are going to be impacted by the field, where Pete a little less. But dude, if Pete lands at one of these homer parks, I mean, God, it goes from 35 homers to you start dreaming of an every year 40 homer player that, I don't know. And speaking of homer parks a little bit, when this originally was put on the sheet, they said if you were Houston, what would you do? And I mean, that gets tough for me because the heartstrings are involved. But I would actually flip back to Bregman just because I think
because the park.
Yeah, I can't remove the nostalgia of like, you're talking about retiring a guy's number and he's going to be a part of the franchise forever if you re-sign him. That I like that part of it. But also Bregman at that field, you're going to get a little extra offensively, which I think if I can lock that in, then I'm good.
Okay. To each their own.
To each their own.
I want to go to one now, Jake, and maybe because there's two options here on our sheet that are pretty similar, and it's Corbin Burnes versus two pitchers. And I think they both kind of make sense. So I'm going to give you the option of either one. So would you rather Corbin Burnes, 7 years, 250? That's 35.7 a year. So just, call it, 35 mil, 36 mil a year. Or you could either have a package of Sean Manaea and Nick Pivetta, and that would bring you to 37.5 a year. Or the other package would be Max Fried and Walker Buehler paired together. That would actually run you a little bit higher, like 42. So Corbin Burnes, Sean Manaea or Nick Pivetta, or Corbin Burnes, Max Fried, Walker Buehler. The old 2-for-1.
The old 2-for-1, if you will. And you can get 2-for-1 in this Blitzball battle game coming out. Look at this.
Blitzball Battle 5. Woogas, hook, line, sinkers.
Yeah.
Two really good teams without a win.
Exactly right. That's the storyline. Who is going to come out victorious? Because both these teams have the potential to do a lot of damage. Obviously, we know the history with sinkers. Woogas are a new team. Dan Rourke's a new man. That's what we keep hearing, but we haven't seen it yet translate to on-field performance.
I'm going to take Woogas because look at old man Dan right behind me right now. I don't know what he's writing for me. It's always going to be hard to pick against Jimmy Norp.
I believe in old men. I'm going to have to pick sinkers.
Well, there's no country for old men around here. Let's go Woogas. Coming your way later today from the Warehouse Blitzball Battle 5.
Check that out on our Warehouse Games YouTube. Subscribe. Okay, how about this? Of the two packages, because I obviously love me some Corbin Burnes.
Okay.
If I had to go for the two first, Manaea and Pivetta versus Fried and Buehler.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation as well.
For me, I'm pretty straight up Fried and Buehler.
Me too.
Like I still think Buehler's projections are off. Like maybe I was gonna say maybe I'm dumb. Sound off below.
Comment.
But like Walker Buehler, his playoffs changed everything for me. I saw the same guy come back that for me, I don't think he's getting...
He was atrocious during the year.
Yes, he was. And he was coming off of injury.
Sure.
Tommy John, right? Like that's...
I'm just adding context to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Playoffs changed everything. He was really, really bad. Self-admittedly, he was horrible during the year. And then, yes, turn it on in the playoffs.
Coming off of injury, he should not have been the same version of himself. I think people were surprised of what it turned into, but by the end of the postseason, he turned down... He got the final outs. He had a couple massive shutdown starts that, compared to Manaea, who we talked about a lot on this show, and any team that gets Sean Manaea is going to be stoked. Pivetta, I still don't know, man, and maybe that's rude, because I should give his ERA a little more respect, especially pitching his home games at Fenway. But like I'd like to know that my starter. Pivetta's never had the big year. Like, I think that's fair. Like, Pivetta's best season is probably last year, 145 innings, a 4.14 ERA, like a 4.07 FIP. It's really good, especially at Fenway. But, like, I don't know. Out of Manaea, Buehler, and Fried, like, those guys could give me the massive let's go win it all season.
Okay, so I guess we're going to pick through the two for package first. I think I agree with you on the Fried and Buehler. The only thing is you're only most likely going to get Buehler for 1 year.
Right.
It looks like, I don't know, maybe some team says, you know what, we'll give you 3 off the bat. But Buehler, might not want that. I'm
Yeah.
very, it's almost the same conversation we had the other day about, hey man, he's coming off an injury. Do you think he just wants to settle up and get as much money now as possible? Or is he going to do the 1 year with the player option thing and say, hey, let's go have a year and then re-enter free agency? That's going to be a decision that he's probably going to have to make. I bet there's a few teams that offer him at least a 2-year deal with like a player option.
I would try. It
Yeah.
depends what he wants.
Pivetta, I still think, man, like I would love to just see him. I know he doesn't want this, and he is a serviceable starter. I'd love to see that guy just be a flamethrower in the pen. Just figure it out. He's got the body type. I know that we can find, guys in the pen in different areas, and I just think he profiles better there. I don't know. But I'd also take Max Fried and Walker Buehler in this scenario. So now it goes to, okay, Corbin Burns, and you get him for 7 years. Or you get Max Fried and Walker. You get Max Fried for 6 years, Walker for only 1 year. Where do you go then? Would you rather?
This one, I think teams start to matter a little bit. Like,
like how much depth you have in your rotation.
It's depth, and it's do you need the true one? Like, I know this is a dumb baseball convo a little bit. Like, how many aces are there? Corbin Burns, he's got that card. Max Fried.
You don't think Max does?
I love Max.
I think he does.
In his best year, he does, but he's been with Sale, he's been with Strider. It becomes, again, a dumb argument that we probably need to get out of baseball. Corbin Burns joins your team. He's the alpha, he's the omega, he's all of it. And maybe that's the beard talking a little bit, but if Corbin Burns comes in, he's the guy. That's why I love, if this was the Cubs, the example I fell into the other day, I would prefer they get Burns. You can figure out some of the other depth. You get another top dog up there for sure. And Max is going to be really good. But yeah, in my head, that's a little bit of a mental hurdle where I don't know, for the Mets, who they need multiple starting pitching, I would actually rather they get Fried and Buehler. That's who I have them in our free agency draft. That's who I had them taken.
Essentially, this one to me comes down to I almost don't even include Walker Buehler in this because I'm more so looking at the long-term 7 years or 6 years of Fried and Burns. I think I side with Corbin here, and I mean, obviously I love Max. I've known him forever. I know what he can do. He's had incredible years, but I agree with you about putting Corbin Burns out there means something. He's a top what pitcher in baseball? Top 3 starter in baseball?
Sure.
And Max is probably a top 12 pitcher in baseball,
right,
which is awesome. But there is something about, hey, Corbin Burns is our guy. It's like when Luis Castillo went to the Mariners and he was like, this is obviously our guy. Now they've obviously brought some other guys in with him, but I would take the Corbin Burns package and just put him out there and say, go do your thing, Big Daddy.
Man, I've been doing it a lot recently, but your guy Max Fried's Baseball Reference.
It's really good.
It's really good.
I know.
Whoever gets that guy is going to be really happy that I don't know, man. Maybe we've got that Cy Young award too deep in our head because Max Fried did finish second in one of the Sandy years. So, maybe we are just getting blinded.
No, we're not.
That.
We're not. I know how good Max Fried is. I know how good Max Fried is.
They're both pretty damn good. That was a good one, Trev. Hey, actually, before we pivot off, this question was originally listed with the Red Sox on it. And I think that's interesting because they could use a little depth or they could use the alpha dog. Who would you rather for them?
With the Red Sox, trying to think about Park. I still think I go Corbin Burns.
He kind of feels like a Red Sox.
Yeah,
Max is too clean.
I'm big on Corbin. I think he is. He walks into. I mean, gosh, you're right. Max Fried's Baseball Reference page is nutty.
Dude, it's.
You got a better overall ERA career than Corbin does.
For a guy that we're like. I mean, you've known Max Fried for a long time. It almost.
They have similar innings pitched. Max has 884. Corbin has 903. And The only thing that Corbin has him in is whip, which means something.
That means something. That means something.
Max has him in ERA, wins, not strikeouts, though. Okay, strikeouts and whips. Okay, that's important.
Are we talking ourselves out of things today? I know.
That's a tough question.
Good job, Dalt. Let's head over to... All right, Trev. You know what? Let's do the corner outfield game a little bit.
Okay.
I'm interested to see how these two play off each other, and I do think money would become a little bit of factor when it comes to Anthony Santander of the Baltimore Orioles, now a free agent, and Teoscar Hernandez. So what I think the people need to know, the AAVs are projected pretty similar. You've got power hitting corner outfielders, not known for their defense. I think Teoscar stands up a little better, but Teoscar is 2 years older. So let's say the money's similar. You have to give Santander another year. Let's say that. And I guess this gets tricky. Let's start out wide, because I guess I'm interested in your preference as a ball player, because the switch hitting for Santander is interesting. Teoscar, we just saw him on the biggest stage. It's tough to get that out of our heads. So
yeah,
where are you going?
I think that's the only thing that's would stop me from just picking Santander blindly is what I saw Teoscar do for the Dodgers this year in the playoffs. You know, he rose to the occasion. As far as fielding goes, I mean, Santander has him in the baseball savant bubbles this year.
Okay.
Teoscar was -9 outs above average, and Santander was only -2. So neither of these guys are bringing you a Gold Glove. I'm choosing Santander for a couple of different reasons. I think the biggest reason is switch hitter.
Yeah,
I like guys that, you know, can cause platoon matchups or excuse me, aren't exposed to platoon matchups. The power is real there, man. 38 in 2022, 28 in 2023, and then 44 last year. I'm trying to think about, as far as like OBP, what that means, because neither of these guys really have great career OBPs, and who's gonna be better down the stretch. I mean, Santander is pretty much exclusively slug when we're talking about what he does offensively. 506 slug last year, and Teoscar almost matched him with 501. To me, I'm going the switch hitter here, but again, I think this one is really, really close too. And Teoscar showed me something last year big time about betting on himself, playing on the biggest stage, doing it. Seems like a great guy, but if I'm picking between both these guys, I'm going to go Santander.
I think I'm Teoscar, which I'm surprising myself a little bit, but even going back to his Toronto days, Teoscar was like the threat. And Santander, obviously a threat himself. And I know Seattle fans don't want any more of the punishment, but like Teoscar's year over year, there's something that feels a little more stable about it. And maybe I'm just getting scared by the on-base percentage, because I mentioned it with Pete, like it feels like when the sluggers fall off, it happens quick. And I don't know if that's swing speed or, you don't trust your swing speed a little more, so you're guessing a little more, or however it happens. Santander's on base last year was 308. That, yes, 44 home runs erases that really quickly. But if that homer total drops to 33, which, is still a good year, and that on base stays around there, the offensive profile gets a little more question marky for me. So the other side of this, Santander could have clicked a little more, and he's peaking. Like he had his highest OPS plus over a full season last year. And switch hitting, figuring it out on both sides. I don't know. And man, that guy can hit anything, which is probably part of his on-base problem.
He doesn't strike out a ton, and he's got a good contact percentage. That's and that has something to do with him being a switch hitter. Interesting. We both landed on different sides for the first two questions.
So how about this? If it was bringing both heartstrings, if it's Dodgers and Orioles. I mean, Orioles, I think I have to take Teoscar out because of the fence.
They changed it.
They changed it a little bit, but like...
It used to be a great place to hit.
It used to be a great place to hit.
Did they move it back to when they moved
It's not all the way back.
No.
Not all the way back. Those pitchers, man, complaining. What
They get
sissies.
everything.
It's unbelievable. If it was the Dodgers or Orioles, pick one.
Okay, Dodgers.
I think they run Teoscar back. Like, there's something about putting the band back together, right?
I think so.
The devil you know. Yeah.
Santander with those fellas.
Gosh, now I'm thinking both teams would probably pick Teoscar because the Orioles need a little something different. Dodgers want to stay the same. They'd both probably take Teoscar. Less years. I guess my only real reason for taking Santander is his ability to switch hit.
The switch hit, man, if the team you follow has ever gotten too stacked, righty or lefty in recent years, you understand the value of a good switch hitter. I think this would become more team dependent, that if you need to balance out the lineup, Santander's switch ability. But there's something, is it rude of me to say there feels like there's something safer with Teoscar?
I don't feel that way.
Okay. Then it is rude.
Just for more context, against lefties, Santander 786, career OPS against righties 772. You got to love that. So, did I change your mind?
Know what else I love, Trev?
Okay.
Via. Need a break from the crowded stores and endless gift list? Restore your zen and embrace the natural power of hemp this holiday season with Via. Via is the only lifestyle hemp brand. They use compounds found in hemp along with active plant extracts to create products, each with a specific effect in mind. This holiday season, yup. Gift yourself some peace of mind. If you're 21 plus, check out the link to Via in our description. For a limited time during the holidays, Via is offering 25% off site-wide, plus up to 50% off select items and bundles. And if you're hearing this ad post-sale, you can still save by using code Talkin for 25% off. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard them from. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. This holiday season, enhance your everyday with Via, V-I-I-A.
I like Via.
Yeah.
Hook me up, Via.
Okay.
I've been using Via.
Hook me up, Coach Trev.
I got a good one here. Does your team need a first baseman? I know your team does.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an Astros fan, your team does. I think if you're a Diamondbacks fan, your team does. I think if you're a Mets fan, your team does. There's a lot of people that need first baseman. So I'm going to present to you 3 completely different contracts, and I'm very curious to see where you go. And let's just say this for, exercise purposes, it's not only a first baseman that you need. You might need some other things, and you don't have unlimited money either.
Right, and the first baseman you're about to lay out affect years. It affects, yeah.
Okay. Would you rather Pete Alonso? You're going to shell out 7 years for him, and you're going to give him upwards of $27 million a year. Christian Walker, you're only going to have to shell out 3 years for him, and only at $20 million a year. Or do you pinch the pennies and go splurge and buy something else and put a Carlos Santana out there, 1 year, $8 million, and a club option for the following year? So Santana for 1 year at 8. Mind you, he just won the Gold Glove. Switch hitter. Christian Walker, I believe has won a Gold Glove, $20 million for 3 years, or Pete Alonso has not won a Gold Glove, 7 years, 27 a year. Would you rather?
I see why you like this one, Trev.
I really like this one a lot.
I've spent a lot of time talking about first base.
Basically, if you decide between Christian Walker and Pete Alonso, it's only going to give you an extra $7 million to spend. If you go with Carlos Santana at $8 million a year, you have another $20 million to spend on somebody.
And that's the years on Pete there. In my head, I'm getting 6. Who knows if he gets 7? Whatever.
Okay.
For this exercise, doesn't fully matter. I'll be honest with you. Team dependent, I start with Santana. He was great last year.
He was really good.
And obviously the risk attached of not having to deal with 3 years or 6 years or whatever it may be, and what that allows me to do with the rest of my baseball team, I would lean that way. Christian Walker, man, his free agent has gotten even more interesting to me. The teams that are involved for Christian Walker, if you have the Yankees and Mets involved to start, that helps. And it's been this weird kind of thing. Like, I knew Christian Walker would be a coveted free agent for his offense and his defense, but it almost feels like every team has gone to the board and been like, hey, should we add Christian Walker? Gold Glove defense, that his market is higher than I thought it would be. That if you get Christian Walker good, I am a little nervous. We're talking about him at 34 years old like he's young, and I know I just came off of Santana, but father time in baseball.
I think he's 40, Santana.
39? We'll be talking about his free agency in 7 years too. Because what do we say, Trev? If they pay, he plays.
If they pay, I play.
Not a bad way to live. I'd lean Santana, and with those contracts mentioned, I'd go Santana, Walker, Pete.
Oh my. Okay. My gut instinct would be right away. I think I favored him the entire time, would be Christian Walker. The 3 years, 20 a year. I do think that at that position, it is a position where when it goes quickly. These guys are big boys. The age, obviously Pete has that, but if you're talking about length of contract, they're all going to end up being around the same age at the end of it. I think what Christian Walker can do both offensively and defensively, and he really does, and Carlos Santana is a leader too. There's no doubt about it. Christian Walker seems like he really took hold of that Diamondbacks clubhouse and really felt like he was, the guy that people rallied around. Big hits, everything. I'd start at Christian Walker, then I would go Carlos Santana, and then I think I'll go Pete. I have some hesitations about Pete. Like, I really do. I think you'll be happy if he goes to your team, but I would allocate my money a little differently. I think there are some really good options. This question right here, there's alternatives to Pete in this marketplace, and I think that we're gonna. My hot take, I guess, is that I think Pete's gonna wait around a little bit in this offseason. I think teams are gonna go to Santana, go to a Walker, and then Pete's gonna be like, okay, and some of his leverage might be down at the end of the offseason.
Interesting. Yeah, that's, again, it's part of the Walker excitement. Like, it's half the risk, even less, for what you might get more in the first 2-3 years.
I guess what I'm saying is, if I'm Boris, I'd go pre-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas, and try to get Pete a deal. Because once you start dreaming about, okay, I can get Carlos Santana for next year, and then I can take that money and I can go get this for my bullpen, and I can get this for my bench. It's like, wait a minute, like I kind of like that better. The longer you let it stew in your mind about how you can reallocate the money, I think the way GMs think nowadays, I think they're going to go towards the alternatives.
Yeah. Yeah, Boris needs Santana to sign somewhere without a big budget.
He needs leverage, so he needs multiple teams still wanting to fill their first base spot.
God. Man. That's not easy.
No.
Well, actually, it is for us, and that's why you should hire us as your front office advisors, the Talkin Baseball front office crew. Okay, Coach Trev.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I didn't realize. Okay. This one we might have to end up picking a team because these are two different ball players. Gleyber Torres.
Oh, jeez.
His projections came out today, and it was close to what Dahl had. People are 3 years, 48, 3 years, 52. Something around 3 years, 50, 16 mil a year, something like that. Ha-Seong Kim. 2 years, 23. The other note on Kim, I didn't realize how significant his shoulder injury is. They're saying early September for a comeback, so you could be talking about a lost season. Like, no offense at Ha-Seong Kim, but a shoulder injury, September, you get one setback, and that's it.
Is that what came out? He's gone until next September?
Kim shoulder, September. It's what Dalton has in the notes here.
Oh, it's Nike.
Small tear in his labrum. So hey, let's double check on that. Maybe we'll say he's coming back next year, whether it's second half or end of the year. You get Ha-Seong Kim at the end of the year. If they were, this has Ha-Seong Kim as a 2-year deal, 23 mil, or Gleyber Torres. This is hitting versus defense, if we're being honest.
It is team dependent for me. If I'm picking between these two players and who I want, on my team between both of them, I think I take Ha-Seong Kim. I think he's a versatile defender. I like infield defense. I need guys that are going to catch the ball. Now, again, we're assuming that Ha-Seong Kim is completely healthy. I'm going to take him. I like the on base percentage. I wasn't sure exactly what it was. I know he's not like great there, but it's enough where I think he is going to give you some offensive upside, but he's also going to pick it up the middle. So I'm going to find my offense other places, and I'm going to put like a stalwart defender out there. So I'd take Ha-Seong Kim in this situation.
I think everything you said makes a lot of sense. I think these two players specifically make it pretty much like what are your team needs, because they're positionally, although you could say they're similar, they're also not. If you were the Mariners and both these guys were on your plate, we've talked about the hitting thing a ton. Would you go Gleyber? And the other team that's on my head right now, because we've talked about him, is the San Francisco Giants.
I mean, I just think about those ballparks and what's Gleyber going to be like in those ballparks.
Right.
Like those are big, expansive outfields. I think he'd benefit from being, with the short porch at Yankee Stadium. Career OPS plus at like, what is it, 112? I think I have it at 101 last year. Ha-Seong Kim right at 99, so just kind of right on average. I still think I'd take Ha-Seong Kim, man.
Okay.
I'm not sold on the Gleyber train. I liked him. I like what he did for you guys last year. Locked him in the leadoff spot. Great. But I think I'm more give me the defensive guy up the middle.
Yeah, Gleyber, I'm not going to say he got contract yeared a little bit. It happened
22 bags for Kim last year.
Right. You're getting all around baseball, which Gleyber Torres, you need him to hit to be out there, and he did. As the season went on, in the second half he was 293, 361, a 780 OPS in the second half. In September, 333, 387, 859. So like he has that in him. Where these contracts are going to land, again, pending some of Ha-Seong Kim's injury stuff, you're gonna want him on your team also because of the flexibility. Gleyber's only played second base, and he hasn't played it well. Ha-Seong Kim, come the postseason, he could be playing any of like the not first base infield positions, depending how your roster sorts out and how injuries go. So I think between flexibility, if Gleyber doesn't hit, you have a negative on your team basically, because base running and defense, which it's hard to hit in this sport. That Ha-Seong Kim, and maybe that's a good lesson for the kids at home listening. Field the ball and run the bases, man. Like it still matters.
It really matters. Give me those Korean advertisers too.
Oh,
I think this is beginning to really factor into teams' decisions. Like international fandom and international advertisers are really going to factor in. And obviously, I know that Gleyber has some of that, but I think the Asian countries of Korea and Japan are proving to be more fruitful than the Latin American countries as far as advertisers go. I mean, we just saw the freaking Houston ballpark get renamed to Daikon, which is a Japanese air conditioning brand. Like, I think baseball is hot in the streets, and like MLB is hot in the streets in Japan right now, and it's hot in the streets in Korea. Like, I think that matters to teams. Like, you want to be internationally driven, specifically with the Asian countries right now.
Hey, here's some dumb stuff. Know what Japan probably loves? Having the best baseball player ever.
Yeah. So, I mean, what a sense of pride.
Dude, imagine
the
American bullshit if we had the best soccer player in the world.
Yes. Oh my God. We would be crazy.
We'd be awful.
We'd be insufferable.
If the French had the best quarterback who ever played. Be some good content.
Is Patrick Mahomes French? He could be.
Mahomes. Speaking of, why don't you go out and get off your ass and grab a Mountain Dew and go play some sports. Go play cricket. Go play blitzball in our warehouse. The bold flavors and refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew will get you off your ass and having you feel like you're on an actual mountain. Mountain where the weather is always perfect, your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportions await you no matter what you're getting into that day. The mountain is calling. You should answer. Grab your friends. Grab some dews. Roll up to your hangout with some Mountain Dews in hand, and go get them wherever refreshing beverages are sold. And make sure you're doing the do.
All right, I got a good one for you, Pop.
Yeah?
And this could be any team.
Okay.
And I am not sure how I'm going to answer this one. I had like an idea in my head, and as I started researching it, I'm like, oh shit! Like one guy's kind of like clearly above, and the other guy's recency bias for me at least. Blake Snell. And you're going to have to pay him $32 a year.
Sure.
Okay. Or new Chris Sale clone Sean Manaea. And you're going to have to pay him $20. So essentially, Blake Snell 32, Sean Manaea 20. You could obviously add some sort of bullpen piece, or maybe even a Walker Buehler for 1 year on that. Who do you go? Would you rather Blake Snell or Sean Manaea?
These are kind of. I don't want to say this is your guy versus my guy, but I feel like last free agency I was pressing the Snell button as much as I could.
Both former teammates of mine.
Wow. People don't talk about that enough. You don't.
Yeah. Just me. I'm the only one.
All the blurbs I've been reading, none of them have mentioned that.
Fingerprints.
I'm going to go Snell, and it hurts a little bit because Manaea's really good and could be trending up. I think I could say that with Snell. Like, get him on a team, get him to spring training, because he did it again. He gets better every year. His worst year was his first year in San Diego, where he had 27 starts and a 4.2 ERA. Like, that's his rock bottom. I know sometimes the walks look bad, but he actually he was better last year. His Blake Snell's walk rate went down and his strikeout rate went up from his Cy Young season. I don't know, man. I think if you took the names off the board and you just looked at stats, I think we would be more in on Blake Snell. I want him to find a forever home, and that $12 million difference for these two, for me, becomes postseason. And that's the other thing with Snell, man. I can't believe we're doing this again. 48 innings, a 3.33 ERA, but everyone remembers the World Series start he got pulled too early from. He gets better as every season goes. I want Snell.
Give me Blake Snell.
Yeah, let's
Give me
go.
Blake Snell, baby. Oh man, I love Manaea as much as anybody does. I saw the transformation firsthand. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, he does look like a different pitcher, and he, shut out the Dodgers in the postseason. He's got a lot of things. I think he is trending up, but his up isn't Blake Snell.
You want him to become Blake Snell.
Blake Snell is Blake Snell, dude. And he's been that way his entire career. In fact, he's got gold on his Baseball Reference, 11.2 strikeouts per 9 for the amount of innings he's thrown is an all-time freaking record for a starter. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know we've done that before on the show, but every time I see it, I'm like, this is nuts. Cy Young in both leagues for Snell. Swing and miss is paramount in today's game, and there's nobody better at it than Blake Snell. I think when he gets on a roll, I mean, he is. Where do you rank Blake Snell in starting pitchers? Let's just say everyone is hot and everybody is kind of feeling it. Their best. Where do you rank Blake Snell?
So they're on.
They're best. We gave Corbin Burns top 3.
Right, but Corbin Burns gets there partially for consistency.
Yeah,
Corbin Burns
best over best. I don't think Corbin Burns is in the three.
If everyone's hot, is there a lefty over Snell? Maybe Sale?
No.
I guess that's the point.
I think it's Paul Skeens and Blake Snell right now.
Whoo, Trev.
Name me some other guys that you want best stuff.
I mean,
right now.
Honestly, Strider came to mind because he's gone
Scooble
missing,
too is freaking absolutely
Scooble.
Filthy.
I think Scooble would get the nod over Snell. Again, it's a little bit consistency.
I don't know, man. If you're saying best,
right.
There are times where Blake Snell is absolutely unhittable. And you can say that about Scooble too. It's obviously a very difficult conversation, but the fact that we're having it, I think we're both in lockstep here, and I would take that Snell contract over Manaea and a bullpen guy, or Manaea and 1 year of somebody.
That's
on a bounce
good.
Back year.
I didn't think we would get that one together. I'm happy for us.
Am I crazy for putting Skeens in that conversation? I just said Jackson Merrill should win Rookie of the Year. People were not happy about that, unless you're from San Diego.
Man, Skeens, after looking at his stat page for a little bit, I don't know where I stand anymore. He's full blown here. We're gonna find out next year. That's the beauty.
Can't wait.
Trev, I think it might be 1-1 / if we wanted to end with some quick hitters, because there's some reliever ones on here that I think are funny. I'm actually going to go the other way, because I think sometimes we start throwing around these big numbers and we forget what that really means. Juan Soto. Dalt, his agent, has him at 15 years, $690 million. I don't have Juan getting there, but let's play that game.
690?
It's 400. It's 46 mil per year, which that is kind of the rumor. I would maybe chop off a year or two, but
15 years is insane.
It's a lot of years. It's a lot of years.
That gets you to 40 for him.
What were you doing 15 years ago, Trev? AA?
2009. I was in AAA. I think I got moved up to AAA.
Okay, congrats.
Oh, I know. I started the year in AAA. Excuse me.
Excused.
Whoops.
Juan Soto. We know the deal. Or you could get Santander and Alonso. Dalt has Santander for $22 million a year, Alonso for $26 million per year. So let's, if we level those numbers out, you'd be paying $5 more million a year for Alonso and Santander, who they combined for what? 44, 70 homers last year?
Give me Juan Soto. The way I'm thinking about this is, yeah, you're looking at the extra 8 years on a contract, and what's that end of the contract going to look like? I don't give a shit. I don't think like that. Like, if I'm signing this guy, it's not for his age 40 season, dude. I'm not. Okay. Like, we'll figure something out. We'll eat that money. We'll do something. We'll find a buyout program, whatever it is. Give me Juan Soto for the next 7 years. It's just, it's different, dude. Santander and Pete Alonso, are they going to be great hitters over all these 7 years? I don't think so. I think there's going to be a cliff. It's just seen it too many times. I think Juan Soto for the next 7 years is going to be one of the most dominant hitters in the game. I think you can book that. So give me Juan Soto in this scenario.
Trev, it's a great finishing point because the excitement of Santander and Alonso, middle of your lineup, here's 70, 80 home runs, depending the stadium. You mentioned Soto's, let's say it does get to 15 years or whatever. Yeah, maybe those last 7, 6, 5, whatever it is, they look different, whatever version of different that is. With Santander and Alonso, that could be 3 years from now.
Yeah.
That you're looking at.
Well, okay, we'll put it at this. Over the next 3 years, would it change your mind if we just said, hey, just 3 years? To me, it doesn't. I still want Juan Soto, like the scariest at bat, one of the scariest at bats in the game, up there on my team for 162 in the postseason.
For 3 years, I would have to know my team a little better. Like okay, like the Giants keep coming up.
I don't think it matters.
Because I
don't think what team you have, I don't care.
Some of the teams,
he's different to me. He's different.
You're not wrong. Like I can't tell you, Soto isn't different. I don't know if you're a team like the Giants or I don't know. We're back to the Mariners. I don't know if Juan Soto is enough for the Mariners, where two of these guys actually might be.
God, put Juan Soto on the Mariners. He will mean more to that team than both of these guys.
I think
he's not gonna strike out. Look what he did to the Yankees and their whole freaking approach, man.
Yeah,
like this guy changes things. The other two guys, yeah, they're gonna give you some numbers, but I'm talking about an organizational shift if you bring in Juan Soto.
Trev,
and I don't think he hasn't helped those guys in the Padres either. Okay, tell you that right now. Like those guys learned from Juan Soto. Ask any Yankee this year what being a teammate with Juan Soto was like. It's just different.
Trev, why don't you find me one more version of BetterHelp while I tell the people about BetterHelp. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. This month, it's all about gratitude, and there's someone we don't thank enough: ourselves. Wow. Sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we're trying our best and make sense of everything in this crazy world. It ain't easy. Here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. And one way to do that is starting therapy, and give it a try with BetterHelp. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Fill out a brief questionnaire, match with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/TalkinBaseball. Name of the show. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball. There's a link in the description. Where are you bringing me, Coach Trev? I do have some quick hitters that I think we could rapid fire.
I think let's just do one quick hitter apiece.
Okay.
I actually like this one a lot. It's number 8 on our sheet, Jake.
Okay.
This is going to be relievers for 1 year.
Okay,
and you got to pick who you're going to go to.
Yeah,
they're all right-handed pitchers. Do you go Kenley Jansen, 1 year, 10.5? Do you go Kirby Yates, 1 year, 9? By the way, Kirby Yates win probability added was only second to Emmanuel Clase last year of all pitchers. Didn't know that. Found that out when I was researching. Blake Treinen, 1 year, 8.5. David Robertson, 1 year, 8. They're all similar, all within $2 million of each other. So Jansen, Yates, Treinen, or David Robertson.
And this is a fun fan one because at the end of the day, when that money drops for one of these guys, it's going to be shrug, whatever. It's for these guys, it's going to be who is the best next year. God, Yates was so good, man. Yates' stats are insane from last year. And it's not like he doesn't have a resume behind him. Like, Kirby Yates pitched really well. I'll tell you what, I don't know if this is popular. If he's bought in, I am a Kenley guy. I know he can make a messy inning. I've seen him pitch in every situation. I don't know. I think it's the wrong answer, but I'm just putting it out there. I think if you've got a locked-in Kenley Jansen, I'll take that.
I'm going the guy with like the wiffle ball. I'm going Blake Trinan. Yeah. As much as I love David Robertson, I think if you're putting those two guys together, similar contracts, which is what we have on the sheet here, I think I've just seen Trinan make guys look absolutely ridiculous. The swing and miss stuff is there. Obviously, I think he got touched up. Did the Yankees touch him up?
Yankees got Trinan a little bit, and his stuff
so there's a little bit of sour taste, I think.
I don't know. He was getting used in those big outings by Roberts. Like, he had a couple 40 pitch that I wonder if that was something. His fastball was interesting during the World Series. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're getting used so much that, obviously fatigue will set in. But give me full strength, all four of those guys. Give me Blake Trinan.
I understand.
South Dakota State University. Is that a jackrabbit?
Although you're kind of going against your religion by not getting D-Rob.
I know. It's very tough for me.
Get both. Get them both. Any team can. That's the beauty of free agency. Trev, my quick hitter, they're on the sheet for the same exact dollar amount. 3 years, $45 million. Your guy, former teammate Jurickson Profar, versus my guy, former teammate Tyler O'Neill. Both listed 3 for $45. Where are you going?
I think I'm taking Tyler O'Neill. I think the track record is better with Tyler O'Neill. I love what Jurickson did with the Padres, but I'm going with my short king right there, Tyler O'Neill for sure. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind.
The only thing that I do think injury. Tyler O'Neill has a pretty recent history of getting banged up, where Profar played 150 plus in 2 of the last 3 seasons. It's just nobody really knows what to do with this age 31 breakout season. But I'm in on it. I'll take
Profar.
I'll take Profar. Some of the stuff he did last year, like getting on base at a 380 clip.
Yeah, it's huge.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for some of the stuff you see in standout years that don't make sense, it's not like he hit a bunch of fly balls that got out down the line, and it's not like the batting average is in a unattainable place. Like, it feels like there's sustainable stuff here that I would be worried about O'Neill's injury history. If I needed flexibility in the outfield, I think Tyler can still play center. That could be a game changer, but I
mean, Tyler O'Neill's got 2 Gold Gloves, an MVP 8. I think he did take advantage of playing in Fenway. I think he really liked the monster there.
Good.
I'm going Tyler O'Neill.
Tyler O'Neill and Jurickson Profar. Does it get better than that? Peterson versus Winker. I don't think we need to do that one.
We're jock all day.
We're jocking a Tyro Estrada on the sheet. I think we've hit a good point, Trev. Paul Goldschmidt and Kirby Yates versus Christian Walker.
Christian Walker.
Right? If you believe in him, you're going to get that for a couple years. Man, shout out. Dalt has so many on this sheet. Evaldi versus Kikuchi. In the comments, if you've got one we need to sort through, or if there's one you think we totally got wrong, let us know. We'll be back on Monday unless there's breaking news.
Jigsaws.
Pivetta to the pen?
Pivetta.
It's just a lot of money, you know?
I know.
Not to start this contract.
Maybe you start him in the regular season, and then he instantly kicks to the pen in the postseason.
It's kind of got a lot of...
You like his body, you said?